We look at ourselves as a platform to foster sustainability as a way of life.
It's also about fostering social innovation, fostering social entrepreneurship. In the long run, what really matters is this informal kind of mentorship.
So the way to identify social needs is actually to spend a lot of time in the field.
One of the ways in which social innovation is driven is informally.
Every activity has to be socially relevant.
Hi, I'm Aarti Mohan. I'm co-founder at Sattva. We are a media and consulting enterprise working on sustainable development. I work as a part of the media division where we run a platform called The Alternative to make sustainability a way of life. So when we started off The Alternative, our aim was to be the voice of social development in India. There are so many pressing problems that face our country today, from poverty to water, waste, overall sustainability. And while these problems are huge and they exist, it's also true that a whole variety of people are working on them, right from the government to NGOs, to social enterprises, to businesses and civil society. The most important thing we felt was to get civil society involved in the social development of the country, which means everybody, you and I and everyone included. So then while the magazine ran for a while being the voice of social development, we soon realized that it has to also be relevant to somebody's life and not in a way that is a weekend activity or something like a philanthropic initiative that they've taken up that they go once in a while and engage with, but it has to become central to their life. So The Alternative today, we look at ourselves as a platform to foster sustainability as a way of life, as a set of choices that we make that have a positive impact on the world around us. So I think in a rural community, the ties within that community are that much stronger. So if somebody falls sick, the entire community rallies around that person. And innovations are always premised on the fact that there is always paucity of infrastructure and scarcity of resources. So people are all bottom-up solutions that normally come about are people trying to solve this whole jugaad, where people are trying to solve their problems in whatever way they can. So on an urban community level, the problem is that there is abundance of resources, but the community ties are that much weaker. As a society, we're bound very tightly to some interest groups and to things that naturally bind us, like family and so on. But otherwise, we are very loosely coupled. So we actually have to rally a certain community around a topic. On Facebook, it looks like it's hugely possible. Technology has made people come really closer. But on the ground, does that translate to action? Does that translate to people making more sustainable choices? And for a larger good, that is a lot more of a difficult problem. And that's where I feel the innovation comes through people who are these community champions, who are the early adopters, who are the connectors, and then technology sort of backing all of these up. If you are talking about rainwater harvesting and how can we do it, is it possible can children come and talk about it in their schools? You know, like there is a school in Bangalore where every child is encouraged to empty their water bottle out into a big drum before they leave school, because if that water bottle goes home, it's going to be emptied into the wash basin for sure. So then what happens is that drum at the end of the day is full, and water is used to water the plants in the school premises. I mean, this is a really no-brainer kind of an innovation, but it engages every kid in that school around saving water. So what kind of conversations do we start? Where do we start, and who's the best person? We're now working actually on a water campaign where we're saying, can we engage the city of Bangalore in this whole huge problem called water shortage? as something that we can do something about, that we can be the center of the solutions on, at an individual level, at an apartment level, and then extending to the city level. So we've been running an initiative online where we're telling people, what is your story of water? What are the small things that you've done in your house? And the innovations there, right from using a shower in your kitchen sink to using a foot pedal faucet, or wearing a particular kind of clothes that don't require as much detergent. The number of things that people are already practicing in their house that other people are finding interesting to emulate has been huge. So I think that starting off with your life and then to connect the dots to a larger picture has really worked, both in terms of furthering the conversation and engaging people on a continuous basis. One critical thing is that the platform needs to move to where people are. So if it's a combination of being on Facebook where they are, or being online and bringing or on an app and coming closer to what their daily behavior is, or in spaces offline where they hang out, it's important, I think, to go closer to where the people are and where their problems are, in order to be able to tell them that this is solvable and how. Secondly, it's important to empower and arm these early adopters and community champions. And the third thing that we've learned is also that it's important to talk to every stakeholder. We did a waste management event last month, which brought pretty much the entire city to engage with waste. We got the corporators, the BBMP commissioner, as much as corporates and heads of businesses, as much as the Paura Karmikas and the waste pickers to come, and children and citizens to come and have a conversation around waste, what they can do about it, what lessons they can take back, and how can they start tomorrow on it. All of the stakeholders need to be engaged, motivated, and incentivized to perform their role in this particular process of change. And bringing together, having a conversation that involves, that's very inclusive, needs to be there. So that's something that we have. These are the three things that come to my mind at the moment from what we've done so far, that talks about how we can make a larger movement out of these small seeds of thought and sparks of enterprise and innovation, and make it larger.